Hello viewers and welcome back. It's been about 6 months since we installed our Polytunnel and started growing things in it, so I thought it was high time that we did a quick review to see how we were getting on and what we might do differently if we did things again. As you can see, it's hardly neat and tidy in here at the moment, but it's pretty good. Most of the big plants have already gone out, or the big old tomatoes and things, but there's still quite a few things lying around. In terms of what's left growing, we've got greens, lettuces and things. For some reason, parsley seems to be doing extraordinarily well. But on to the important stuff. What would we do differently? Well, I think the first massive difference, or the massive change we would make, given the opportunity to do it all again, is we'd have a bigger polytunnel. When we had originally planned it, if you'd seen our first video, we'd originally planned to put it somewhere else. Then when we moved it, because we decided we found a better location, the better location also would have given us scope for a bigger tunnel. This one is 12 foot by 20 foot, and we could have gone for one which was 14 foot by 25, or maybe even 30 foot at a push, which would have given us a much bigger ground space, and for relatively not much additional cost. So that's the first big thing. Probably would have had differently, gone one wider and one longer. When you mark it all out, it's easy to look at the area and think, you know, that's a lot of growing space. But the reality is, once you've got paths in, then actually the amount of space you've got left to grow does shrink somewhat. And I just didn't really have my head around that, or we didn't have our heads around that one, and also I'm a bit excited and wanted to get on and order it. So it's fine. We'll certainly manage with what we've got. We're not going to go and order another bigger one to replace this one. Maybe in a few years' time we might add one. We might add a second polytunnel, but for now we're happy with what we've got. It certainly produces quite a lot of food. It would just be a little bit roomier, and of course you don't just have to use the space for growing food. If there was a bit of extra space, we might have a seat in here or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, that's the bigger one. One thing I really like, perhaps overly pleased with, is these ladders. They were kind of a bit of an afterthought, but they went together really nicely. They looked really smart, and they were great. We had melons and things growing up them and along them, and that worked fantastically well. I've built two. I've half built the one for the third bay down at the end, and certainly would like to consider finishing those things off. One thing we have thought about doing for next year is that you can get, if you get plastic guttering that you would use for you know, drain pipe or whatever, you can get plastic guttering and you could put that between these sections of the ladder, and they are apparently excellent for growing strawberries in. The irrigation system, which we do have a separate review for, is working very well with the water butt here internally, and that's connected to 3 large IBC containers which are just over there, with pipes underneath the ground connecting that all together. The only other significant change we've made recently is to add electricity in here. We've got a couple of sockets with armoured cable and the rest of it hooking this up to the mains. We've had a garden office built recently. It's not quite finished, but that we had electricity running to that, and it was trivial to run an extra bit of cable in here. To be honest, I'm not sure what we're going to use it for. It just feels like it'll give us a few extra options, even if it's just some lighting, so we can work in here on a winter's evening. I don't know, but that's an option, and that's, yeah, it's really helpful. Well, I'm hoping it's going to be helpful. And really, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this brief video. We didn't get anything drastically wrong, I'm pleased to say, other than maybe getting a bigger polytunnel. We haven't really done anything that's been dramatically bad, or that we've had to go back and change, and there's no big regrets. I hope you found this brief review useful, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Close your eyes, get some rest.